Well, a very warm welcome back to part 2 of this historic day. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Teachers of what I'm reliably informed will be the best school in the world in the year 2030. It is a real pleasure to have you back for this question and answer panel. So this initiative that you are embarking on marks a major step forward in aligning the early childhood education with world-class standards alongside preserving deep-rooted values and cultural identity. Today we are joined by 3 distinguished panelists whose vision and leadership have made this milestone possible. So we're going to dive into a thoughtful discussion on the significance, the aspirations and the future of this exceptional programme that we are launching at your school here at Wheaton International School and Guidance International School here this afternoon. So Andrew, we're going to begin with you. So Andrew, perhaps you could just introduce yourself formally, tell us what it is that you do.
I'm Andrew Coombe. I'm Managing Director of OxfordAQA. I am based in Oxford in the UK, in the heart of the university, and so it's my job to run our exams, our qualifications organisation, and the supporting programmes that go with it. What do I do every day? I'm not sure I can tell you what a typical day looks like, but I seem to have quite a lot of meetings when I'm in the office. But I also really enjoy the opportunity to go and visit our schools and meet with teachers and school leaders and sometimes students in my travels, which I go all over the place, all around the world. And it's a great pleasure to be back here in Bangladesh.
Thanks, Andrew. Perhaps you could go into a bit more depth then on what you were talking about earlier and tell us a bit more about the unique features, the pedagogical strengths from the Oxford International Programme. The teachers here are obviously focusing in on the early years programme. So what is it about all of that that is globally respected?
Well, I think what I would say is that in order to create well-rounded students, you need students who not only learn some things, they have knowledge and skills which they build up, but they are also able to use and apply those knowledge and skills, and they can relate well to each other. And so the Oxford International Programme is designed to do that. And some of the things that I think are different and unusual are the fact that we build into our programme from very early years. The early years is based on it's play-based learning, if you like, but it's designed to start the process of building that learning and those skills, which will continue to develop through primary and secondary schools and lead on and be useful to those students throughout their lives. So, just being really specific about that, we have well-being built into our curriculum, we have sustainability built into our curriculum, and then from primary years onwards, we have also global skills, we have computing, as well as things like English and maths and science that you would expect. So we think that it's a very strong foundation. It's also extremely flexible. It can work in any part of the world, in any situation, and it respects local conditions and culture and likes to build those into the learning that takes place.
Thank you, Andrew. And now comes an opportunity for you all here gathered here present to ask Andrew a question. So I think the best way that this should work is if you would like to ask Andrew a question, if you could raise a hand.
I'm Hikma from Guidance International School. So in both of our schools, in Guidance and in Wheaton, we are following in early years EYFS, early years foundation stage, and we are following the 7 features and the prime areas and specific areas. So I'm just curious what you are providing from OxfordAQA. That was my question. Thank you.
Well, our program is a program of it has a curriculum that we've talked about, including things like well-being, and with that come also resources that support it and training. And I think that combination can work really well together. So maybe Shaheen, would you like to comment?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think very briefly. Yeah, I think one of the other things we also focuses on that Oxford International curriculum. So these are specifically designed for international market and based on the outcome of the research that we conduct internationally. So it is very relevant for international audience.
It's also backed up, it's worth saying, it's also backed up by the University of Oxford continuing education department as well. So it's got that academic research and support behind it.
Fantastic. I'll ask your question.
Good evening. Hello, Mr. Coombe. I am Sariha, and I teach English here at Wheaton. And most of my students are EFL learners. They learn English as a foreign language. So for many of them, school is the first place and often the only place they really actually hear and use English regularly. But we know how much progress depends on what happens at home too, especially in the context of early years. So my question to you is, how does OxfordAQA Early Years program involve parents, and what kind of support is offered to help them reinforce the English language learning at home, specifically in an EFL setting? Thank you.
Well, I'll do my best, because I think it depends a great deal on the local situation. So in some cases, I think you will have parents who do have some exposure to English, but I think the kind of things that can help at home would be if English is really not spoken at home, then the kind of things that can help would be the use of audio-visual materials in English, which will help to back up, and just even if it's just a listening process, that will help with the acquisition of English and the familiarity to make it sound less strange. So I think that's one way that parents can really can get involved, even if they don't speak a word of English.
Yeah, if I can just add to that, I think either you like it or not, I think that is what it happens at the home. So even parents, if they want to talk to the children, they will not get a chance to talk to them because they'll be busy with their devices in front of them, and most of the devices are in English. So I think that is kind of taken care through what Andrew was suggesting.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. I am now going to turn to Mr. Abdullah Jaman. So you are the visionary behind this initiative, taking on the Oxford International Programme into your school. I mean, your dedication to academic excellence, your outstanding contributions in this field are truly commendable. So my first question to you is this. So you are an educational leader with 2 pioneering schools under your leadership. So what has motivated you to introduce this Oxford Early Years Programme into Bangladesh for the first time?
Thank you so much, Mr. Ved. In fact, if I speak frankly speaking, in Bangladesh, there is not a single school who is following early years program from any awarding bodies of UK, like Cambridge or Edexcel. What the schools they develop their own curriculum and they practice it. We also was doing same thing, but we got the idea and we took the one of the teachers already mentioned that EYFS, earliest foundation stage, is a framework from UK national curriculum. So we have taken from them and we develop our resources and we also implement it here. Once I first come to know from our brother Mr. Shaheen that Oxford is coming here, so then I was talking with him, then I decided yes, as this awarding body is very popular in UK, so we know its strength and everything. So I was talking with him, and it could be a good option for us, for our school, to introduce the earliest program. Then gradually we'll go for the secondary juniors program and secondary and higher secondary. So the motivation comes because we need the recognized and the awarding bodies. which will direct us and will admit our efforts. So once we teach our children, we can tell the parents that yes, we are teaching our children the Oxford Early Years program, which is recognized and certified. That particularly worked for me to take the initiative.
Great. We have another opportunity to take some questions from the floor. So if you would like to follow up on that fantastic answer, please raise your hand.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good afternoon, WIS and GIS teachers, for improving our teaching techniques, which has truly proved to be very effective for our students. And whatever strategies and methodologies we have implemented so far for our school were very logical and truly commendable. And as a result, our school has also become quite popular among the English medium schools. And as a teacher, we are very proud of it. So my question to you, sir, is how this new system of assessment and qualification alliance will take our school to new heights of achievements. Please enlighten on it.
Thank you very much. It's a very academic question regarding the assessment. You see, the students for preschool or early years, we normally don't have any assessment. What we do the formative assessment, because the purpose of early years children, teaching the early years, is to preparing them for the formal education, for the schooling. So the students of age 3, 4, 5 basically is not suitable for assessing or assessment. So what we do formative assessment, and formative assessment is, the alternative names of the formative assessment is assessment for support, assessment for feedback, assessment for teaching. Assessment also is used many a times as a mode of teaching. So formative assessment is, in some cases, it is used as mode of teaching or means of teaching. So what we do in preschool or early years, we use assessment as mode or means of teaching our children. So here we don't have any formal assessment. What we do the feedback, because we assess the students to get the feedback if they require any support or not, do they require any materials or not, do they require extra effort or not, or do I need to change my teaching style for teachers. The formative assessment is known as the assessment for feedback. Formative assessment all the way gives the feedback. So it is designed to give the feedback for teachers, feedback for the students. As a teacher, I will get the feedback. There's my teaching style, my teaching methodology, is it appropriate or not? Should I customize or should I change it or not? So preschool, no ways is there with the assessment. So assessment here is used, but it is formative assessment. And formative assessment is the means of teaching. So we don't have any summative assessment. The way we understand, once there comes the word assessment, final exam, this is basically summative assessment. So summative assessment starts from formal schooling, from grade 1 onwards, for the upper class students. So our students will not face any difficulties regarding the assessment. And the assessment is designed for the preschool, although all the assessments are formative assessment. And the purpose of formative assessment is different. The purpose is to teach, to enhance, to accelerate the teaching. I hope you got the idea. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Is there another question to be had? I saw a hand go up. There's one over there.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum
Good afternoon. I'm the maths teacher of junior section of Wheaton International School. My name is Nahian. So I have questions regarding maths. So in Mr. Andrew Coombe's speech, we have heard that there are different approaches that OxfordAQA will take. For example, play-based learning, database learning, analytical learning. So my question is, what kind of support or resources would our school teachers get or our schools get in order to teach maths in play-based learning? Because students in the early years are normally more attracted to visual aids or auditory aids. And another question I have is regarding the maths curriculum of Oxford. How does it distinguish itself to be different from Cambridge or edXL? Like for example, in Cambridge curriculum, it is different strands, for example, numbers or statistics and other. How does the early years program distinguish itself or makes it different? That's all. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the question. Basically, for your information, let me to clarify. All the awarding bodies in the UK, they follow the guidelines of OFCOL, or the British Regulatory Authority. So British Regulatory Authority has formed a curriculum framework. Based on this curriculum framework, all the awarding bodies has designed their curriculum. So you will see the the differences may be 10 to 15%. All the awarding bodies has almost the same curriculum and the content almost are the same, because the ability, because once we design, the education is design the curriculum, they design the curriculum based on 3 domains. The domains, 3 domains is known as the Bloom's taxonomy. Those who are, Bloom's taxonomy. So 3 domains is cognitive domain, affective domain, and psychomotor domain. So once someone design curriculum, you will not go out of these 3 boundaries, 3 domains. So whether it is Cambridge, Edexcel, or Oxford, all the awarding bodies, they follow the same pro forma, same model. Based on the model, they develop their materials and they develop their assessment policy and style. They varies on the assessment policy and styles. So in a nutshell, I can tell you almost the same, but the differences in surveys, in cooperation, in assessment. So other things almost are the same. And the resource, so far I have seen they have lots of the resources. And rest of the thing, I think Mr. Shaheen Reza will clarify.
Sure. I think Dr. Abdullah Jaman has clarified that very nicely. I just wanted to add on point that I think all the curriculum, I think if we talk about UK, all these early years curriculum or even primary curriculum are developed based on the age group. So irrespective of the awarding body, I think there is particular requirement at for a particular age group. So curriculum are developed based on that. And also the resources are also developed based on the curriculum to support the curriculum. So I think if we talk about Oxford University Press, as Andrew has mentioned during his speech, that we have over 400 years of experience in developing resources for school children. So I think that is one of the reason I think we differentiate ourselves. I think some of the other awarding body probably they don't have that kind of experience and international exposure. So during the break I was talking to colleagues here that we have, for example, strong presence in all over the world. So if we talk about South Asia, we have very big presence in India, we have very strong presence in Pakistan even. So we have about 350 staff working for Oxford University Press in Pakistan. So you can see that there are lots of dependency in Pakistan on Oxford University Press resources. So this indicates that these are very relevant for South Asian context. Probably that's the reason they are able to maintain that kind of massive setup. So I think unfortunately, I think because of the piracy issue in Bangladesh, we do not have that much of our presence yet, but we are very hopeful that with the engagement with this kind of a school like Guidance International School and Wheaton International School, we should be also able to bring those expertise and the resources available in our country, and we will be able to support you with the resources, world-class resources that are developed based on research outcome, and it's very relevant for international context and even for South Asian context that reflects through our presence in India and also in Pakistan, even in Sri Lanka and Nepal as well. So I hope that you will find it very relevant for our context as well.
If I can add one extra stream to what Shaheen and Mr. Abdullah Jaman have been talking about, the Oxford International Curriculum, of which this early years program is part, also comes with a high range of online content and online live So, for example, just at the end of April this year, we saw the Oxford International Curriculum Global Conference. Now, this was an online conference for teachers all over the world, so anyone could attend from the Oxford International Curriculum. There were 16 different streams worth of content going, all with top-notch global leaders in education, providing support and training on a whole range of different topics for teachers just like you. So that is something you've got to look forward to next springtime, so do be looking out for that coming soon. I think we've got time for one more question for our principal here today. I can see a hand right at the back there.
Assalamu alaikum and good evening to you all. My question to you is, what long-term academic objectives and developmental benchmark can we aspire to attain through the implementation of this internationally acknowledged early years framework?
I think it comes back to this starting the journey of lifelong learning and inspiring in even very young children the joy and curiosity around learning. And I think the other thing is that I would mention is this kind of questioning approach. So encouraging students to ask questions, to wonder what something means or what something is, and look beyond how it appears at first value. And that's the start of the journey to develop a kind of critical thinking approach, which in later years is so important. And I think that's one of the things that's changed over the years, especially with advancing technology. It's important to know facts, but it may be slightly less important than it used to be, because you can find facts on the internet. So I think in the past some emphasis has been on rote learning, and we would encourage more acquisition of knowledge and facts, certainly, but more of a focus on how they can be applied, and that, I think, is that, you know, the early years program is the start of that thinking that will have much benefits far into the future.
Thank you, Andrew. Any other comments?
You see, the early years is the foundational stage, so the impact is yet to start, because you just start the foundation, and Oxford and Cambridge, both the programs, they emphasize on lifelong learning. So here, normally what we see, the earlier curriculum is designed based on social basis, emotional basis, cognitive basis, and behavioral basis. So once this fourth dimension is formed and foundation is formed based on this fourth dimension, you will see the impact for whole life, because knowledge is constructed here, the emotional knowledge also is constructed here, behaviorism also is constructed here, social basis, the social interaction as a social being, like the way today I'm interacting with them. So as a human being, they will interact with the society. That's also will impact. Once we start at the early years, that's they gradually learn, and they learn to interact with the society. They interact with the people, with the institution. So the impact starts from the early years, and this impact is four-dimensional. I hope you got. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now we're going to put the spotlight onto Shaheen next. Now, something you might not know that myself, Andrew and Shaheen have in common, beyond the fact that we work for OxfordAQA, is that we've all made a journey from Cambridge to Oxford in recent years. So I studied at Cambridge and I now work for OxfordAQA. Andrew studied at Oxford, then France, and then Cambridge, and has worked as an international director at Cambridge International Examinations, but now has come over to OxfordAQA. But then Mr. Shaheen over here has also made that journey from Cambridge, as many of you know, to Oxford. And in fact, Andrew has now hired Shaheen twice, having hired him at Cambridge and now again for OxfordAQA. So Shaheen, perhaps you could tell us what you are most excited about from having moved from Cambridge to Oxford. Perhaps we could start there.
Yeah, maybe on a lighter note, I can say that I was telling Andrew this morning that you made the same mistake twice. because you have recruited me for twice, once for I think Cambridge, and second time it's for Oxford. So I think yes. But yeah, I'm really excited. I think we have number of, as an organization, number of USP. I think if we talk about the brand image of the organization, we are proud to be associated number one education brand in the world. That's Oxford University. I think that's everyone knows. So I'm very proud of that. So I'm very excited about that. And also, if I talk about the awarding brand, that's AQA. AQA is a very powerful brand in the UK. So we promote UK qualification in Bangladesh, and that's the value we're trying to bring. I think Dr. Abdullah Jaman was saying that UK is exporting knowledge. So I think if that is the case, then I think as an exam board, 92% students in the UK taking our exams from AQA. So it means they recognize us as one of the top exam board in the UK itself, and that is what we are trying to bring internationally. So I'm again very excited that associated with two very powerful brand. One is University of Oxford, the other one is AQA, the largest exam board in the UK. So that's very exciting. And also I'm very excited, honestly, that wherever I go, so I was with edXL, Cambridge, and before that I was with the British Council. All these years I have worked with people like you, teachers. So again, it's all about knowledge. Teachers are like knowledge bank. You have the knowledge here and you try to cascade down to the students. So that's what we are doing. So I feel really excited that I'm associated with these hundreds of knowledge bank in front of me. So wherever I go, it's a school, award ceremony, and also the other segment of our audience, this children. I think I'm growing old all these days, but the audience remain in the same age group. So it's 3 years to 18 years. So that's the exciting time of life. That's the time when they shape their future. So I think I feel really honored to be part of their kind of shaping the future journey, if we can say that. So I'm really what I do, I really love that, and I'm really excited. And also visionary leadership. So for example, Dr. Abdullah Jaman, I think this school is one of the, I should say, it's one of the newest school in the country, but the reputation you have gained. So there are a lot of innovation happening in the education space, so I'm witnessing all these, and I also get the opportunity to contribute in some cases, so I feel really excited that all these activities happen around this education domain, particularly international education domain. It's very, very innovative, competitive. It's a private sector, so parents are the main stakeholder. They pay you, pay us, pay the British Council for the exams delivery, and everyone is very much accountable to the parents. So you don't have, or we don't have the flexibility, or we cannot be kind of, we cannot take a chance that let's see how it goes, because we have the accountability to the parents. So every time we do something, we need to make sure that it's perfect. There is no, I think, tolerance, because we are paid for that. Whatever we do, I think teachers, schools, and as the awarding body, I think everyone has some responsibilities to our students and their parents as well. So we try to bring the best, because we feel that we have the accountability to our parents, because they're paying for our services. So I think it's very exciting. At the same time, we don't have the flexibility to do whatever we want to do. We have the serious level of accountability. So thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Shaheen. Would anybody like to ask a question of Shaheen? We've got a question here.
Assalamu alaikum everyone, and good evening. So my question is, considering that the guidelines have been set, taking into consideration the European environment for the assessment, how do you suggest we can customize your assessment objective into our environment for educational assessment?
Again, the toughest one, because this type of question should be discussed in more peaceful environment. To customization of the assessment system based on the region. The assessment is not customized based on the region. Assessment is always customized based on the student capacity. So you have to see your classroom condition, students' condition, then you have to customize. As a teacher, once I enter my class, if I see my students' level is upper grade, then I have to design assessment accordingly. And if I see that they are struggling, then I have to plan differently. I have to set the different benchmark for them and different style of assessment for them. So it depends and varies. So that's why Oxford or Cambridge, whatever it is, region is not matter. Matter is the student's capacity. So based on your classroom environment, you can determine. So no worries for that. Okay, just for the information before he conclude, before he ends, I would like to let you inform you that in Bangladesh, there was not preschool education before 2010. When I was student, when you were a student, do you have this opportunity? The government started and took the initiative in 2010, and they implemented this program in 2014 for 1 year preschool program. And also not across the country, in selected schools. Later on in 2021, the government has revised, and they took initiative for 2 years, preschool education for 2 years. And that also was not implemented across the country. We had more than 100,000 primary school. Only 3,214 schools, they introduced this 2 years pre-primary education. Still, can you imagine, whereas UK, they have this program almost 50 years before. 50 years later, still we don't have. So it's good thing that Cambridge, edXL and Oxford finally is here. So our government will take lesson from here. That yes, we should introduce preschool education in our national curriculum, because we're talking about with a very particular group, community. Because English medium school around not more than 300 or 400 in our country. But we had 2 million children are going to school, and they don't have this opportunity. So once we see the international awarding bodies are here, so government will see, they will understand, they will learn, so ultimately it will benefit our national education system. That's what I would like to say. That's why, again, I would like to say thank you for coming here in Bangladesh, for coming to Wheaton.
Thank you, Dr. Abdullah Jaman. It has been a real privilege to have you on our panel, and Andrew and Shaheen, thank you also. As I wrap things up, again to say thank you to all of you for being here. One of the privileges of my role in OxfordAQA is that I get to interact with the University of Oxford quite a bit. I get to work with their international admissions team, so most of my work is focused on the other end of the academic journey, the high stakes qualifications, the international GCSEs, the international A-levels. One of the things that Oxford often note is that they will get about 100,000 applicants every year, and only 10% of those, perhaps even less, get a place. All of those students have brilliant academic credentials. All of those students know everything that there is to know for someone of their age. So what is it that is going to make them stand out? Well, it's the things that you guys are going to be instilling in them from the start as you take your journey with Oxford. I'm reminded of one of the things Andrew highlighted earlier about how we want Oxford studying students to be inventive and curious, to ask those big questions, not just to take everything without question, but to ask why or why not. And that is something that all of you here are going to be able to teach them to do. And that is so valuable and so important. And it will really impact them in their lives to come. It will equip them for global success. So let me thank you for all that you're doing with all of these children that you're teaching. Let me thank you once again to the panel. And thank you all for coming.
Thank you.